We've all heard about Alexander the Great and how he single-handedly changed the course of history. But what if I told you there's so much more to the man than meets the eye? Join me as we dive into the incredible life of this legendary conqueror and uncover some shocking secrets along the way. Alexander III of Macedon was born on July 20th, 356 BC in Pella, the capital of the Kingdom of Macedon. His father, King Philip II, had conquered most of Greece and was determined to bring the rest of it under Macedonian control. As a result, the young Alexander grew up in a world of war and politics, learning from his father the art of statecraft and military strategy. When Alexander was only 2 years old, Philip had him paraded around the city with him on a chariot like a little conqueror. This early exposure to the adulation of crowds left an indelible mark on the young prince, fueling his desire for power and glory. However, despite his father's influence, Alexander's true passion lay in the study of literature and philosophy. He spent hours upon hours poring over the works of Homer and other ancient Greek poets, immersing himself in tales of adventure and heroism. His mother, Olympias, was a strong-willed woman who recognized her son's unique qualities and encouraged him to pursue his interests. She hired the renowned philosopher Aristotle to tutor Alexander, hoping to shape him into a well-rounded, cultured leader. Unfortunately, Alexander's relationship with his father was far from ideal. Philip saw his son's interest in philosophy and literature as a waste of time and pressured him to focus on military training instead. This tension between father and son would eventually come to a head when Alexander's half-brother, Ptolemy, accused him of plotting against their father and fled to the kingdom of Thebes for protection. Philip, believing his own son, banished Alexander from Macedon for 3 months, forcing him to live among the Thebans and forge alliances with other Greek states. This experience only fueled Alexander's determination to return home and prove his loyalty to his father. Upon his return, he successfully defeated the rebellious king of Thebes and earned his father's forgiveness. Tragically, however, King Philip was assassinated by one of his bodyguards just 2 years later, leaving the throne to Alexander at the tender age of 20. Alexander ascended to the throne as a reluctant hero. Initially, he wanted to follow in his mother's footsteps and live a quiet life of scholarship and poetry. However, after receiving the news of his father's assassination, he knew he had a duty to his family and his kingdom to seek revenge. With the support of his mother and his army, Alexander set out to punish those responsible for his father's death and secure his place as the undisputed ruler of Greece. But as he grew older, the handsome and charismatic monarch gained a reputation throughout the ancient world for his military brilliance and insatiable thirst for conquest. Alexander led his army on a series of daring campaigns, conquering vast territories and defeating powerful enemies along the way. From the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of India, Alexander's legend grew ever larger, becoming a symbol of human ambition and achievement. And yet, despite his many victories, Alexander's personal life was marked by tragedy and loss. He lost his beloved wife, Roxana, and his close friend and advisor, Hephaestion, leaving him heartbroken and disillusioned. Yet even in death, his legacy lived on, inspiring awe and wonder in those who heard his story. For Alexander the Great is remembered not just as a great conqueror, but as a man who dared to dream big and reach for the stars, forever changing the course of history in the process. It is said that he was only 4 feet 11 inches tall, which is pretty short for a king. Despite being called the Great, Alexander wasn't exactly tall and imposing like some of the other famous conquerors in history. But don't let his height fool you. This Macedonian ruler was a true giant in terms of his intellect, bravery, and determination. Throughout his short life, he achieved more than many rulers twice his size. He built an empire that stretched from Greece to India and founded cities that became centers of trade and culture. But what truly made Alexander stand out was his ability to inspire those around him. His charisma and charm were legendary, and he was able to rally people from all walks of life to follow him into battle and explore new lands. In fact, it was Alexander's love for his horse named Bucephalus that first captured the attention of the world. One day, while visiting a horse fair in the town of Mysa, he saw a young, wild horse that no one could tame. But Alexander, with his natural horsemanship skills, managed to do just that. The two quickly formed a bond that went beyond that of a rider and his mount. They became the best of friends, sharing a mutual respect and admiration that only comes from a deep understanding of one another. Together they went on countless adventures, exploring new lands and conquering new challenges. And as Alexander grew older, his friendship with Bucephalus only grew stronger. So the next time you hear someone say, "Don't judge a book by its cover," remember the story of Alexander the Great. Sure, he may not have been tall and imposing, but he was a true giant in every other way that mattered. He was a visionary leader, a brave warrior, and a loyal friend. And it was these qualities, not his height, that made him one of the greatest conquerors in history. Now let us dive into the darkest chapters of Alexander E's past and uncover the shocking truth behind his rise to power. Welcome to our channel. If you're new here, subscribe now to never miss an exciting episode. Alexander's journey to becoming the great conqueror of Macedon was not an easy one. He faced betrayal, assassination attempts, and countless battles that tested his strength and resolve. Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? The year is 382 BC, and the Macedonian royal court is a hotbed of intrigue and deceit. Young Alexander, only 13 years old at the time, finds himself caught in the middle of a power struggle between his father, King Amyntas III, and his uncle, King Ptolemy I. With the odds stacked against him, Alexander must use all his wit and cunning to navigate the treacherous world of Macedonian politics and secure his place on the throne. Will he succeed, or will he be consumed by the darkness that surrounds him? As Alexander navigates the treacherous world of Macedonian politics, he forms an unlikely friendship with a slave named Parmenion. Despite their different backgrounds, the two become fast friends, bonding over their shared love of philosophy and literature. But as Alexander's enemies close in, Parmenid's loyalty is put to the test. Will he remain a true friend to Alexander, or will he betray him for his own safety? Meanwhile, the stakes are raised even higher when Philip's half-brother, King Ptolemy, enters the fray. He sees Alexander as a threat to his own power and will stop at nothing to eliminate him. With his life hanging in the balance, Alexander must make a choice. Will he flee and preserve his life, or stay and fight for his rightful place on the throne? What will he choose? With the help of his mother, Olympias, and his mentor, Aristotle, Alexander manages to secure his place on the throne at the ripe age of 20. But his troubles are far from over. Now that he's in power, he must face the wrath of his enemies who are out for revenge. Will Alexander be able to defeat his enemies and unite Macedon under his rule, or will his reign be cut short by those who oppose him? As Alexander consolidates his power, he sets his sights on expanding his empire beyond Macedon. But he soon discovers that conquering new lands is not as easy as he thought. He faces fierce resistance from neighboring kingdoms and must use all his military prowess to subdue them. Will Alexander be able to create the vast empire his father dreamed of, or will he be defeated by the forces that stand in his way? The series takes viewers on a thrilling journey through ancient Greece, where they'll explore iconic landmarks like the Acropolis and the Temple of Zeus. Along the way, they'll meet fascinating characters from history, including Aristotle, Cleopatra, and Julius Caesar. But it is the darker aspects of ancient Greek society that are brought to light in this series that truly set it apart. Viewers will witness the brutal realities of war firsthand as they see Alexander E's armies lay waste to entire cities. They'll also get a glimpse into the seedy underbelly of ancient Greek culture as they learn about the slave trade and the exploitation of women. Despite the darkness, though, there's still plenty of room for humor. The series features witty banter and playful jabs that will keep viewers laughing. Even in the darkest moments, there's always a glimmer of hope. The series reminds us that even in the darkest of times, it's important to hold on to our values and strive for a better future. Overall, the series is a must-watch for anyone interested in history or mythology. It's educational, entertaining, and thought-provoking all at the same time, so why wait? Start watching today and immerse yourself in the world of Alexander the Great.